This video will help you understand why you struggle with relationships and can help you save your current relationship too. Have you ever been called clingy or maybe been told that you're too unemotional and distant? And if you're single, have you wondered why you're avoiding relationships even though a part of you wants them? Or why no matter how hard you try, you just can't hold on to one? It might be because of your attachment style. Attachment style. These experts discovered the attachment theory, which explains that when we were helpless babies and needed our parents to provide for us, we developed attachment styles that influenced how we behaved as children. And this attachment style becomes the foundation that we instinctively bring into our adult relationships. So, stay with me for a quick test to figure out what's your attachment style. I'm going to share some statements with you, and the one that best applies to you will reveal your attachment style. Number 1. I feel comfortable going to my partner when something is wrong so that we can work together and solve any problems. Number 2. I want to be closer to my partner, but I often worry that they don't really love me and don't want to stay with me. Number 3. I'm uncomfortable when someone gets too close to me. It's hard to trust someone fully and I rather depend on myself. Number 4. It's confusing. I want to get closer to my partner and I want their attention, but when we do get closer, I get scared and I wonder if I can really trust them. Okay, know which one applied to you the most? Now let me reveal your attachment style. If it was 1, you have a great advantage. This is the secure style. People with this style usually had parents that were there for them as kids and tended to their needs. Secure style people tend to have honest, open, and equal relationships where both can grow together at a healthy pace. This doesn't mean their relationships are perfect. It just means they know how to move past obstacles with great care and self-awareness. If this is not you, don't worry. At least half the world doesn't have this style. And the good news is we can all change our attachment styles. In fact, I can already feel mine changing. Now, if you relate it most to number 2, you have the anxious attachment style. People with this style can have a fantasy belief of what love will do for them. They can overanalyze situations and can mistake turbulent relationships for passion. They can struggle with low self-esteem and end up with people they want to save or who they think can save them. Not because they're crazy, but because as kids, their primary caregivers were inconsistent. Some days they got a lot of love and attention and other days they were neglected. This unpredictability causes separation anxiety, which makes them feel the need to be very close. Number 3 is the dismissive avoidance style. People with this attachment style most likely had caregivers who were emotionally unavailable or were dismissive of their needs. So as kids, they learned how to suppress their emotions. And as adults, they end up being very independent in order to protect themselves from getting hurt or even abandoned, which is also why they avoid having deep connections. And lastly, we have the fearful avoidance style. This used to be mine. Just like the anxious style, this is also formed because of inconsistencies from their caregivers at a young age. Sometimes their caregivers were helpful, and other times they could be very hurtful and scary. People with this style show a confusing mix of the anxious and the avoidance styles. They face a lot of inner conflict between wanting intimacy and resisting it, and that's why it can end up having many highs and many lows in their relationships. But as I said, don't worry, all of these insecure attachment styles can be worked on. First, pay attention to how you react and respond in relationships. So for me, I realized that as long as things are great, I'm very affectionate, super loving, but as soon as I get hurt, I distance myself and I kind of go into my own shell. I still want to be understood in these moments, but I also reject any connection, which is not fair to my partner. But ever since I understood this about myself, I catch myself when I feel upset and I push myself to do this scary thing. I have that scary conversation. It's always worth it and it's becoming easier. Second, speak to a therapist, to your journal, or even to your own partner to work through any past trauma. Talking through things instead of avoiding them will help you get into a place of understanding instead of judgment. And with this kind of self-awareness and the right support, you can go on to have secure and healthy relationships with those who deserve you. You don't need to be a prisoner of your past. If you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe.